This is the intro. 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 Hello. I'm thinking about starting a series about comics. And I quite like comics. I've read quite a lot of comics in my time. It's just that these days I'm not into it as much as I used to be, you know? Like, I used to get myself like 10, 11 comics every week. That was during the high point, you know, when I'd swan in on a Wednesday or a Thursday, depending on what day it was back then, and I'd just pick up the comics, I'd take them straight home, I'd read them right away, and then I'd go do like little blog posts about them, because that's what I did back in the day, and it was fun, and it was great, and those comics, back in my youth of 20 or whatever it was, they seemed to matter. Like, they seemed to be good comics. Every comic, like, there was a lot of guff comics, but comics overall seemed to matter, you know, like the plot in them, like the ongoing story of like the universe, be it DC or Marvel or some indie thing, they were cool, you know, like, they felt worthwhile. They felt like I should be reading this, and it's cool that I can read this, and it's quite a privilege, you know, because we didn't have a comic shop before then, and now we do, and anyway, comics now from the two main companies, from DC and Marvel, aren't really like catching my attention, you know. They're not really making me want to read or buy them, you know. Like, there was a new She-Hulk comic out just there, and like, I looked at it the other day and I was like, I really like She-Hulk as a character. Like, that last run of She-Hulk from like a couple of years ago was amazing. Like, I loved every issue of that. It was, the art was like a wee bit like weird sometimes, but it was cool, you know. It was She-Hulk being a lawyer. And then like, I saw the She-Hulk comic today, or last week or whenever it was, time doesn't really matter, but it just didn't grab me, you know. Like, I like the character, the art looked cool, I'm sure the story's fine, but I was like, nah. I mean, like, half of it is like a monetary concern, because like, comics are more expensive thanks to Brexit, which is guff. So I've had to like trim down what I'm buying, but even the ones that I'm buying aren't really grabbing me. Like, I've got a giant pile of comics sitting under me right now, like, literally under me, and like, I will read them, I will, but it's somewhat intimidating, because I've got like 15 issues of Spider-Man that I should probably read at some point, because it's Dan Slott, and it's not good. Like, I know people, like, I know you might say it's good, but is it though? Is it good? It certainly should tickle me, though, because, like, it started off and it was amazingly just, like, 70s Kamen Rider. Like, there was literally an episode where they, like, double ridered up with the Prowler, went to, like, a Shocker-like base, and dealt with it. And that should be like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, but I was just like, that's cool, but, yeah. I think with Marvel, at least, the problem is, like, the sheer girth of comics that they put out, because the last couple of years, I mean, maybe it's a little more than the last couple of years, but the last couple of years it feels like they put out like 700 books a week, and all of them are pretty inconsequential. You know, they're all, I think it's Marvel's like turn towards kind of Tumblr, kind of comedy comics, which aren't a bad thing at all. It's just the sheer amount of them they put out. Like, there's like every week there's like another like weird spin-off thing of like Gwenpool's a thing. What? Like, I hear it's good, but like, what? Spider-Gwen looks cool. Like it's stuff like that that's just like, it's out and about. Oh, it's got a beep. Oh, multiple beeps. I wonder, someone's beeping me in the middle of it. Wow. I'm just gonna look at the beeps. This is super professional, guys. You know, D1. Oh, hey. No, please don't worry about it. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, there's a lot of comics. And DC has that problem as well, I guess. DC's quite different, because, like, DC, I feel like, has less comics, but they're coming out more often. They adapted the Marvel method of coming out, like, every 2 weeks. And Marvel, I feel like, did that unofficially. Like, for a while there, like, Dan Slott was just kicking out, like, Spider-Man every 2 weeks. And I feel like he still is. Or I feel like it's a little bit more time between issues now, because, like, it was 2 weeks for a while, but DC are every 2 weeks. That's happened with Rebirth, the Rebirth event, which I really, really, really loved the Rebirth issue, like Rebirth #1 or whatever it was called. This big universe-changing event, and then the universe didn't actually change. It was just Wally West that came back, and I loved that because like everybody was like, "Oh, they're doing a reboot again. Oh, it's too soon. Like the New 52, what?" And they were just like, "No, mate, it's no reboot. We might have like advertised it as a reboot, but it's not actually a reboot." Which I found fun. Like that was a good gag. Killing off Superman, though. Like, I did not have a problem with New 52 Superman other than his pants. Like, he should have the red pants. I'm one of those people. But all of his stories were mostly good. Like, there were some bad ones, obviously. There's always going to be some bad ones. But overall, like, he wasn't like this big, horrible thing that needed to die. That said, Superman, the main book that came out after Rebirth with the Superman from, like, post-Crisis, like, 90s Superman, has been amazing. Like, it's been one of the best books in years, I want to say. Like it's been, really good, like, character work, him and his son, him and Lois, him being Superman, and, like, you can tell that the artists really, really, really want to draw the red pants on him, and probably have, and they probably had to edit out afterwards, because there's always, like, a pants line of shadow on Superman, where they're, like, clearly drawn the red pants. Oh, anyway, I hope they get the red pants back at some point, because they're silly, but it's Superman, that's what it's meant to be. Come on now. That said, my gushing for that Superman book, I'm like 4 issues behind on it. I've got them sitting under me as I speak. And like, that's kind of my point. Like, even the books I like right now, it's not like mission critical that I read them right away like it used to be. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to force myself to read them, which, is always the best option. I'm going to read them, and then I'm going to talk about them here. To you, the camera people, the machine cameras. Yeah, it's like my backdrop. It's nice, isn't it? Means you can't see what's happening around me. Can't see what's occurring. Ooh, that's a nice angle. Makes my face look quite nice. Look at that. My hair kind of like wobbles in the breeze. So I don't know what the format will be, but like I'll read comics, maybe hold them in my hands and like show them to you, and then I don't know, talk about them, why I like them, why I didn't like them, why you should read them. Hopefully I'll get to that level of like, oh my god, there's this book and you need to read it. Like other than Superman, because you should be reading Superman. Like if you're reading action comics, I don't know what you're doing, because like read action comics and Superman, but if you're only reading action comics, nah mate, like. That was another thing, that action comics, that was like the dream. That was like the dream comic. It was like Superman double riding with Lex Luthor, who's being Superman. Because like Lex Luthor's whole thing is he wants to be Superman. Like, whether he admits it or not, like, he wants to be Superman. And he is. And he's doing the whole thing of like, I'm not evil, ha ha ha. And like, one day he will be evil because it's comics and that's how things work. But right now, well, I don't know actually. I was going to say right now is good, but who knows, because I've not read it for like 12 issues. At the start of the Action Comics, he was pretending at least to be good. And that's cool, because that's what I want to see. I want to see Lex Luthor being like, I'm Superman, and I'll do it better, but not really, because there's like 12 other Supermen, because that's another thing. Like, Superman died, and now there's a billion Supermen, and it's part of that cycle, that whole thing of like, oh, there can only be like one like last son of Krypton, that's Superman's whole thing, he's like the guy, the one. And then there's like a super horse, and a super cricket, and like a super coconut, and super eyes. But what was my point? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna read comics, talk to you about them, see how it goes. Bye. 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 Going to read comics now. Bye. This is the outro. This is the outro. Please go home.